Alright, so if anybody ever seen this video, um, it's called Jordan versus LeBron, the best GOAT comparison. It really should be called the worst Jordan versus LeBron, the worst GOAT comparison, because it's real disingenuous and it omits a bunch of facts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through this video and I'm gonna pretty much debunk the whole thing. But let's start.
Jordan versus LeBron. LeBron versus Jordan. It's a debate that has captured the public's attention for the last several years, especially after this moment in 2016, when LeBron James beat the Golden State Warriors to win the third championship of his career. In LeBron's own words,
that one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
That's what I felt.
Reasons. I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
But did it? Is everything since that moment simply icing on LeBron's cake? Or is LeBron destined to finish his career in Michael Jordan's shadow? We've all heard the arguments from LeBron supporters.
He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more durable.
And from Jordan supporters.
Michael Jordan was merely 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals.
But the GOAT debate isn't as simple as the pundits make it seem. There are a number of factors relevant in determining the greatest basketball player of all time. In fact, I would say there are 5 things that really matter when determining the GOAT of any sport. These criteria are, in no particular order, accomplishments, longevity, winning, statistics, and what we'll refer to in this video as the eye test. And to be the GOAT, you don't need to be the best in any specific category, but you need to be pretty good across the board. So simply winning 7 championships, like Robert Horry did, isn't enough to get you into the conversation. When we're finished with this video, it'll be plainly obvious that one guy comes out on top. But before we get started, I want to clarify that this is not a comparison of legacies. It's about who was the better basketball player. If we were talking about legacies, Jordan's is nearly untouchable. Not only did he lead basketball to global popularity, he helped transform Nike into an empire, changed the way players played and how they dressed, and he even made it cool for guys to be bald. And while those things certainly contribute to MJ's iconic status, they don't make him a better player on the court. So let's evaluate the criteria that matter, and we'll start with individual accomplishments. Take a look. Jordan had more regular season MVPs, twice as many finals MVPs, 9 more scoring titles, and several more selections to the NBA's all-defensive team, including once being named Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron has more All-Star appearances, but that's largely due to his having played more seasons.
Okay. Already, it's disingenuous. Already. So let's start with the fact that I don't see any All-NBA teams up here. I don't see any All-NBA teams up here. He omitted All-NBA teams because LeBron obviously got more. So he had 16 All-NBA teams to Jordan 11 All-NBA teams. And he had 13 first-team All-NBA selections. So disingenuous already. And this is before LeBron broke Kareem's record and before he got 40,000 points. So I'll give him some points on scoring title. But I mean, what's 10 scoring titles to 40,000 points? And not only that, 10 scoring titles, but out of those 10 scoring titles, 7 of those years Jordan led the league in missed shots, and 9 of those years he led the league in total shot attempts. And LeBron's never done that. But he got 40,000 points. But let's keep it going.
In fact, when taking into account retirements and major injuries, Jordan essentially played 13 seasons compared to 17 seasons for.
That's a lie. He didn't play 13 seasons. He played 15 seasons. This is something that Jordan fans always do. Always need to, mix up the lies and the truth and all that. You know what I'm saying? 95 don't count. Jordan came back. He played 17 games. They don't count. When he got swept by Boston, they don't count. Don't nothing count in his career. He essentially played 13 seasons. But if you look on Basketball Reference, he played 15 seasons. Like, I don't know why. It's just a lie. But I'm going to let it keep playing.
For LeBron, making Jordan's significant lead in accomplishments all the more impressive. And that's to say nothing of MJ's brilliant college career, which saw him twice named All-American and once awarded College Player of the Year, at a time when
he wasn't even the best player on his college team. James Worthy was. And not only that, LeBron came into the league at age 18. He was good enough to go straight to the league. Jordan wasn't.
Country's best players actually went to college. So regardless of whether you're a LeBron fan or MJ fan, you have to give the accomplishments checkmark to Jordan.
And that's false too, because I'm going to show it a little bit later in the video, but having more MVPs and finals MVPs on face value, it don't make you better. And a damn show not no scoring title. But let's keep going.
The second criteria in our GOAT analysis is longevity. And this one is also a no-brainer, but this time in favor of LeBron. Not only has LeBron played more seasons in the league, but he's had a longer peak than Jordan. Jordan's peak lasted about 10 years, whereas LeBron's peak has lasted 16 years and is still going. And he's been incredibly durable during that time, missing significant time to injury only in 2019. That said, the claim that LeBron has been much more durable than Michael has been a bit overblown. Consider that Jordan played in at least 80 regular season games 11 times in his career, including all 82 games an incredible 9 times. Compare that to LeBron, who played in at least 80 regular season games just twice, and in all 82 games just once.
Okay, now that's another lie. The claim that LeBron's more durable is not overblown. Let's just for some context. After, Jordan went to those 3 straight finals and three-peated, he took 2 years off. Then he played 3 more years, then he retired. Then he came back for 2 more years on the Wizards. But he's gotten breaks in between all of his time that he missed, or breaks in between all the time that he played. LeBron, from age 18 to age 39 now, and he's about to be 40. No breaks, went to 8 straight finals, 10 finals in 14 years, 9 finals in 10 years. He got 62,000 minutes on his body. And he ain't never stopped playing at a high level. He's been playing at a high level for 2 straight decades. So it's not overblown that he, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not overblown that he's more durable. And, they always try to use longevity to discredit LeBron, but let's keep going.
So both LeBron and Jordan get high marks for their durability. But durability aside, the bottom line is that LeBron has sustained his level of excellence for a much longer period of time than Jordan, which puts the longevity checkmark squarely in LeBron's corner. That brings us to the third GOAT criteria, winning. As we all know, Jordan won 6 championships. LeBron has won 3. Jordan is 6-0 in the NBA Finals. LeBron is 3-6. Yes, LeBron has made the finals 9 times compared to only 6 times for Jordan, but let's not pretend that making the finals is the same thing, or even close to the same thing, as winning a title. Take a prime example from another sport, the Buffalo Bills. They're the only team in NFL history to appear in 4 consecutive Super Bowls. But is there a single player or fan of that team that wouldn't trade all 4 of those appearances for just 1 Super Bowl win?
This is a false equivalency because at the end of the day, LeBron's got 4 championships and 4 finals MVP. So I don't know why Jordan fans act like LeBron ain't never won a single championship, they'd be like, it's about winning, but LeBron's won 4 championships. So I don't know what you mean it's about winning. He got 4 championships and 4 finals MVPs. There's only 2 people that could say, I got 4 championships and 4 finals MVPs in NBA history. And that's Michael Jordan and that's LeBron James. Can't nobody else say that. So I don't want to hear nothing about it's about winning, especially considering Jordan ain't got the most rings. Bill Russell got the most rings. But we'll see. I'm going to show it a little bit later in the video. He's going to use a cop-out argument when it comes to Bill Russell. But let's keep going.
Frankly, talk to any fan whose team lost the season's final game and ask them how they felt afterward. Almost universally, their feelings are of sadness, anger, and disappointment. And that's just the fans. For players, those feelings are only magnified. Listen to Charles Barkley talk about losing in the NBA Finals.
Well, Charles Barkley ain't got no championships, yo. He just ain't got a championship. So it ain't even the same thing. LeBron got 4 championships. So, I mean, that's why are we even talking about that? Yeah, LeBron lost 6 finals, but that's a team thing. That's not a one-player thing. And this is what really gets on my nerves with Jordan fans. This is what they do. They have to diminish what LeBron's done because, that individually they know LeBron's a better player. So they have to go, well, what's the biggest stain on his resume? They go to 6 finals losses, no context. He lost 6 finals, but that's a team thing. Losing to the better team has look. I'm gonna show right now. Losing to the better team has always been the thing. When Jordan lost to better teams like the Pistons, look at his record versus the Pistons. 20-10, 12-6, 32-16, head to head. You know what I'm saying? Versus Bird, Magic, and Isaiah. 27-58. Including being swept twice in the first round. 0-6 versus Bird. 16-32 versus Isaiah. 5-5 versus Magic. He won no playoff series versus the Celtics and Pistons through the 1980s. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he was losing to better teams, right? But he was performing, right? Same difference. I'm just showing y'all the context behind all that. Now, without Pippen, 0 championships, 0 finals, 0 finals MVPs, 5 losing seasons, 0 winning seasons, 154 and 170 combined losing record. Never got out the first round. 1-9 combined losing playoff record. Missed the playoffs twice on the Wizards. Now, when you pull up all of his stuff, his record versus the Pistons, his record versus Isaiah, what's the first thing that they're going to say? They're going to say, look at the numbers that he put up. See, and this is why I don't take the 6 finals losses argument seriously, because it's not like LeBron choked 6 finals. Now, it'd be one thing if he played in 10 finals and he choked all 6 finals losses. That's different than, he lost to the better team. I don't care how good your team is. Losing to the better team is possible. Even if you have good teams, you can lose to the better team. It's just what it is. If your team is equal, you might have like the best player. He could lead you to the championship. He could will your team to the championship. But at the end of the day, the better team more often than not wins. And LeBron, at least 5 out of the 6 finals lost to the better team. Not only that, they give Jordan a pass. They say, look at the numbers he put up. They talk about the 6-3 he dropped versus Bird and all that. You know what I mean? But what they don't say, they don't be like, LeBron only got 1 or 2 finals losses because he showed up the other 4 or 5. They don't give LeBron a pass for that. So, I mean, my point is, what are we doing here? Does it count when you lose to a better team and you show up? Like, are we holding that against you even if you showed up? Or is it, you lost and we going to hold that against you? Because if we going to hold that against LeBron for losing 6 finals, even though he showed up in the majority of them, we got to hold those first round sweeps against Jordan and them lost versus the Pistons against Jordan. But I'm going to keep going.
And I was just in shock when it was over because I was frustrated because I couldn't wheel my team past Michael and the Bulls. And first of all, I don't think I've ever gotten over it, number one. But that was traumatic, and it's painful.
So we can all stop with this false equivalence between winning the championship and finishing runner-up. In the words of Herm Edwards,
you play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
And in that case, if that's what we doing, then it's Bill Russell. But he gonna explain why Bill Russell had to go. I'm gonna let him show.
Now back to Jordan and LeBron. As mentioned, on basketball's biggest stage, the NBA Finals, Jordan was 6-0. LeBron was 3-6. And frankly, that doesn't even show how lopsided their records really are. In terms of individual finals games, Jordan was 24-11. LeBron is 18-31.
And that has nothing to do with who the better player is. We're talking about better player, not who lost, not finals records, not who lost in the finals, not, oh, you lost to the better team, even though you showed up. That has absolutely nothing to do with who the better individual player is. But because Jordan fans have no actual, real, substantial evidence to say that Jordan's better than LeBron, they have to find something that downgrades his career because his resume is too steep. So they have to be like 6 finals losses. Now, this is what I'll give you. I have the context for why LeBron played the way he played in 2011. But if you want to say LeBron's not the GOAT because in 2011, his team was good enough to win. And if he performed, they win that championship easy. If you want to say that, I'm not going to argue with you. I disagree, but I'm not going to argue with you. But what Jordan fans do, they say, well, he lost 6 finals. No context. He lost 6 finals because it's the only way that, their argument holds water. But if you actually give context to those 6 finals losses, you can kind of expose the hypocrisy behind their statements.
That's because in 4 of his 6 finals losses, LeBron's team hasn't even been competitive. Twice he got swept, and 2 other times he lost 4-1.
Okay, twice he got swept, just like Jordan got swept twice in the first round, right? I mean, what are we talking about? He got swept twice, so what? Magic and Kareem got swept twice. Jordan got swept twice. Plenty of players got swept 2 or more times. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
That includes being on the wrong side of the 2 most lopsided finals by margin of loss in NBA history. Of course, LeBron fans will tell you that the only reason for LeBron's poor finals record is that his competition was so tough. Ironically, some of these same fans criticized Jordan for losing early in his career to a Celtics team stacked with 5 Hall of Famers, and they conveniently gloss over the
Okay. No, what people do is they take the same logic that Jordan fans do. They be like 6 finals losses, and what we do is we just apply it to Jordan. When Jordan was getting swept, we just remove context. When he was losing to better teams, we remove context. Like I said, if you want to say 2011 is why you don't have him as the GOAT, fine, whatever. But they know that that's not enough. So what they got to do, remove context, 6 finals losses. Now, I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
tough. Ironically, some of these same fans criticized Jordan for losing early in his career to a Celtics team stacked with 5 Hall of Famers, and they conveniently gloss over the fact that LeBron reached the finals so many times in part because the competition in his own conference was so weak. During the vast majority of his career, LeBron played in what many dubbed the Leastern Conference because the East was so much weaker than the West. On the other hand, during Jordan's playing days, the East was generally considered the stronger conference, as Jordan had to battle through hard-fought rivalries against the Bad Boy Pistons, Patrick.
Let me stop right there. He did not beat the Pistons. That was not no rivalry. He was getting smoked. So he didn't have to battle through no hard-fought rivalry to get to the finals. He beat them one time. Once. That's it. They faced 4 times. So no, that's not his competition that he had to go through to get to the finals.
Ewing's Knicks, the Shaq Penny-led Magic, and Reggie Miller's Pacers. That said,
okay. Now, you're talking about the weak East, right? I can use that same logic. If you look at your screen, this is already on my channel, but I'm going to show it again. Dennis Rodman challenged Charles Barkley to a rebounding title. If Rodman won the rebounding title again, or led the rebounds again, Barkley had to wear a dress on TV. Barkley didn't accept the challenge. And he said Rodman played in a weak Eastern Conference. He said, we got real games out here. They play against the Little Sisters of the Poor every night. This was in 1996. So in the 90s, they were still calling it the weak East. Okay, 1995, weak Eastern Conference. The Bucks used 9 different starting lineups this season. Although their record doesn't suggest it, they feel they are good enough to reach the playoffs as the 7th or 8th seeded team in the weak Eastern Conference. Okay. I once thought of Chicago as Michael Jordan and a cast of other guys wearing the same colored uniforms. So what if the Bulls won it all last year? Big deal. They got hot, cut a swath through a weak Eastern Conference, then ran past the aging Lakers. That's in 1992. October 31st, 1991. The Bulls head in 1991-92 with the same group as last year, resigning the free agents John Paxson and Bill Cartwright. If they could remain injury-free once again, capturing a weak Eastern Conference should be within their reach. So at the end of the day, we could say the same thing about the Eastern Conference that Jordan went through. If that's the arguments you really want to make, but the only reason why Jordan fans make that argument is because they know Jordan didn't play the competition that LeBron played in the finals. But even making that argument, you would have to be arguing that the teams that Jordan faced in the 90s would have stopped LeBron from going to the finals. And I mean, come on, man. I don't even want to go into all that. But the point is, you could make the same argument, the exact same argument. The East was weak when Jordan went through it too, because I got articles right here saying it. Charles Barkley said it. In fact, Rodman said the entire NBA was watered down. But let's continue. Nope. That's not how you compare the competition they faced. Not at all. And plus, if you want to go by wins, LeBron beat a 73 win team. So that ends that conversation right there. That ends that conversation right there. My bad. I had the wrong screen up. But yeah, that ends that conversation right there. He was talking about wins. So I don't know if y'all heard that. Let me rewind it.
Said, if you want to blame LeBron's failure in the finals on the level of his competition, I won't argue with you. But let's also not blow it out of proportion. If you look at the average number of wins of their finals opponents, you'll see that LeBron's finals opponents averaged 60.8 wins per season, whereas Jordan's finals opponents averaged 61.2 wins per season.
So yeah, what I was saying was you can't go by wins because at the end of the day, the average amount of wins, well, LeBron beat a 73 win team. That ends that discussion. But you don't go by wins to determine the level of competition. That's not what you do. That's not how you determine your competition. I'm gonna show you how in a little bit. Because this is ridiculous to even compare Jordan's competition to LeBron. This is Jordan's competition right here. Jazz finals not to be. The legacy of losing now belongs to Utah, not Seattle. So the last 2 teams he beat was known for being losers. Like, what are we talking about? We talking about, man, let's look at this too. 54 points in the finals game. I don't care what kind of defense you play. The Spurs and the Warriors ain't scoring no damn 54 points in the finals game. I mean, look at it. LeBron scored 51 by himself. But the whole roster they was using it in the 90, I think that was 1998, scored 54. Like, what are we actually talking about? Legacy of losing? Compare that to the KD Warriors and the Spurs. Like, what are the 73 win, even the 73 win Warriors? Jordan said Charles Barkley would never win a championship. So, I mean, he already didn't think much of Barkley, and this is his competition. But, you know, the Suns were like the 9th ranked defense in the league. I mean, no wonder Jordan averaged 41. I mean, he had 6-foot Kevin Johnson guarding him and Dan Marley. But the Trailblazers were known as a dumb team too. Like a lot of this stuff is hidden in history, and this article's backing up what I'm saying. And it's like you just know that he was not playing the same level of competition, yo. And it's just not a good argument. Average amount of wins. No, we gotta look at what the Spurs and the Warriors are historical teams, and I'm about to show that real quick. But look at this: 1991 versus the Lakers, starting shooting guard Byron Scott, 4.5 points a game. 92 Trailblazers, Clyde Drexler, 24.8 points a game. That's pretty good. I'll never, I give Clyde his credit. Dan Marley, 17.2 points a game. Hershey Harkins, 13.3 points a game. Jeff Hornacek, 12 points a game and 10 points a game. Like, what? This is his position, shooting guard position. What are we talking about, man? This is his best competition. His competition wasn't steep at all. And like I said, I always give Clyde his credit. But if you look at that head-to-head competition, it ain't even close, yo. Like, compared to what LeBron faced, you look at their career averages, the fact that they ain't got no MVPs, none of that. Like, man, what are we talking about, yo? Look at every postseason opponent LeBron faced had better net efficiency. I mean, it's just, it's not even close, man. Like, when Jordan play a team like this? When did he play a team like that? And in a few moments, the dude in the video is gonna cap, but I'm gonna show you how much better the Spurs and the Warriors are than what I just showed you. Okay, so let's keep going.
So as it turns out, both players face stiff competition in the finals. But a big reason we don't hold the 93 Suns, the 96 Sonics, or the 98 Jazz in the same regard as some of LeBron's finals opponents is because, unlike LeBron's adversaries, Jordan's opponents never actually won the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
And that's because they weren't great teams. The Spurs actually won 3 championships before they faced LeBron at age 22, his 4th year in the league. So they would have been known as champions either way. And then when you think about LeBron's first matchup with the Warriors, he lost Kyrie Irving and he lost Kevin Love. So that's how they won their first championship. Then they go from that to winning 73 games. LeBron ended up beating that team, and they add the second best player in the world to a team that already had the third best player in the world to make a team with the second and third best player in the world on it. 2 MVPs, 4 All-Stars, and Defensive Player of the Year. So it's no wonder they won the championship, and it's no wonder they, in 2015, when LeBron lost his 2 best teammates, they won. So, no, we don't look at the teams that Jordan beat in the same way because they just weren't the same. They are not historical teams. They're not great teams. The teams that Jordan faced in the 80s were historical teams. And guess what? Jordan got owned by those teams. But when those teams left, it was a vacancy in the NBA. And Jordan took over that vacancy. And you got to give him credit for that. But at the end of the day, I'm not giving him more credit for not beating a dynasty, for beating teams that aren't winning teams, than I'm giving LeBron credit for actually, he beat a 73-win team. He beat a Spurs team with 4 Hall of Famers. He also beat OKC that had 3 future MVPs on it. I mean, what are we talking about? And even when you talk about the Miami Heat that he beat, I would pick them over the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz scored 54 points in the finals. I don't care what. Ain't no team scoring 54 points in the finals. You about to talk to me about it's a great team. But I'm going to keep going.
Which goes to my original point, that the difference between winning the title and finishing runner-up is huge. And the reason those teams never won the title? This guy.
Nope. That's not why. They just weren't good teams. Especially in comparison to the teams that LeBron faced. Those teams, I mean, when you talk about the Utah Jazz, Stockton and Malone, they have 19 playoff appearances. But they got 9 first-round exits. So nearly half of their playoff appearances are first-round exits. And then when you talk about, they only been to the finals twice. So they lost twice. What happened to the other 17 times? So 9 of those were first-round exits. So then that leaves 8 more playoff appearances. That means they had 8 more chances to get to the finals, and they didn't. So what are we talking about?
Look, I'm not trying to say that Jordan's opponents were as good as the Warriors teams that LeBron faced 4 times in the finals. The truth is that Jordan never played a juggernaut quite like that. But there's a pretty good reason for that. Jordan's Bulls were the juggernaut.
Oh my God, this is something that I can't stand the Jordan fans do. Jordan never played a team like that because a team like that didn't exist. Now, I will give him some credit. I will give the guy that made this video some credit because if you look at it from a historical perspective, yes, the Bulls were the Warriors of their time. No doubt about it. And Jordan's a big part of that, a big reason for that. Understandable. But that's not the reason why he never faced a team like the Kevin Durant Warriors. The reason he never faced a team like that is because a team like that didn't exist. That's just the reality. They say, oh, okay, hold on. Let me finish playing this.
They were the team winning 70-plus games. They were the team with the target on their back every year. And as the Warriors showed us, that's not an easy place to be. As great as the Warriors were, they were never able to string together 3 consecutive championships. Jordan's Bulls did it twice. So what's the greater achievement? Beating the juggernaut or being the juggernaut? Or to be more specific, beating the juggernaut 1 time out of the 4 times you faced them? Or
Okay.
being
Hold on. 1 second.
more specific, beating the juggernaut 1 time out of the 4 times you faced them?
All right. Now that's disingenuous too. Already. He did no mention of 2015 when LeBron loses Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And then he already admitted that Jordan never faced a team like the KD Warriors, so 2017 and 2018. But he says it's only because he was that team. How does that even make sense? So it's a cop-out argument. Jordan never faced a team like the KD Warriors. So LeBron, what LeBron did when he faced the Warriors 4 times is not more impressive because he didn't beat a team that Jordan, like, let's just put it like this. LeBron never beat the KD Warriors, but Jordan never even faced a team like that. But they say he only never faced a team like that because he was that team. Does that even make sense? And I don't recall Jordan losing Pippen and Grant or Pippen and Rodman in the NBA Final Series at any point. And I don't think anyone would tell me out of the 6 Final Series he played, if he lost Pippen and Grant or Pippen and Rodman in any of those 6 Final Series, knowing that they all went 6 games except for the Lakers in 91. I don't think there's anyone that would tell me if he lost his 2 best teammates, he would have still went 6-0. And I don't think there's anyone that would tell me if he faced a team like the Spurs or the Warriors, he would have still went 6-0. But I'm gonna keep going.
Or being the juggernaut year after year after year, and then doing it again year after year after year. There's no doubt that LeBron's victory over the 73-win Warriors was the highlight of his career. But it's not the first time that an underdog has won the championship, and there actually have been much bigger underdogs who ended up winning the title. But how many times have we seen a player lead his team to 6 championships in 8 years? Prior to Jordan's Bulls, only Bill Russell's Celtics ever accomplished that feat in the NBA, when they incredibly won 11 championships in 13 seasons. However, back then, there was an average of less than 10 teams in the league. And
so this is where, Jordan fans are disingenuous because they admit competition matters. He said there was less than 10 teams in the league when Bill Russell won his championships, right? So he's admitting it matters who you play against, what your competition is like. So on one hand, they'll admit that, Jordan never faced a team like what LeBron faced, but then they'll say it's because he was that team, right? And then they'll say Bill Russell's not better than Jordan because of the competition he faced. So no matter how you slice it, they will admit that Jordan never faced a team like that, but they'll cop out and say, oh, well, it's only because he was that team. And then they'll say, you heard them say, beating the juggernaut or being the juggernaut. It's a disingenuous statement because as I recall, the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s played each other. two dynasties or multiple dynasties can coexist at once. The fact of the matter is, no other dynasty existed because it was a vacancy in the NBA, like I said. So he didn't play dynasties in the NBA Finals or beat dynasties because he wasn't going up against dynasties. There were no dynasties in that time. Now, like I said, you got to give him credit for taking over, but it's disingenuous. And he's admitting that, okay, it matters who you do it against. Because if it was just about winning more championships, then Bill Russell would be his GOAT. Period. There would be no, oh, there was 8 teams in the league. It don't matter how many teams there was in the league. And like I said, it's not the amount of wins a team averages is not indicative of how good that team is. Now, I just showed how the team that Jordan faced weren't all that great. Now look at this, because LeBron played the Warriors and Spurs in 5 of his 6 finals losses, right? The Spurs in 2016 set a 40-1 home record, and that's tied with the 86 Celtics. So that's 1986 to 2016. That's like 30 years, 3 decades. That was the same season. This was the same season the Warriors went 73-9. So let's go. And in that same season, they won 67 games, set a 40-1 home record. The Warriors that went 73-9 set a 39-2 home record, right? So in one season, you almost had 2 teams set a 40-1 home record. And these are the 2 teams that LeBron lost to, the Warriors and Spurs. I'm gonna make my point though. When you look at most wins by a trio in NBA playoff history, Curry, Green, and Thompson, 98 wins. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, 126 wins. Johnson, Cooper, and Kareem, right? 110. But the point is, look at it. In the NBA history, these 2 teams are the teams that LeBron lost to. Historical teams. I don't see the Utah Jazz here. And they had 19 playoff appearances. I don't see the Utah Jazz here. I don't see John Stockton and Karl Malone here. And Jeff Hornacek. And then when you look at big threes, winning trios in NBA history, the Warriors, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry got a 76.4 winning record. And that's higher than any other team in NBA history. The Showtime Lakers and the Boston Celtics are on here. And it's the big threes in NBA history, historical teams, right? Okay, let's keep going. The Spurs, 541 wins, which is the most in NBA history as a trio. Okay. And the most finals wins by an all-NBA trio in the last 50 seasons. Now, 50 seasons. Now, Curry, Green, and Thompson have 20. They broke that record. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili have 19. Bird, McHale, and Paris have 16. Right? So my point is, when you look at these historical rankings, right, you do see the teams that Jordan was facing in the 80s. They were dynasties, right? But you see them on this list, right? But you don't see Jordan's 90s competition on this list, and that's because they weren't historical. Not because they faced Jordan. No, they just weren't historical. The teams that Jordan faced in the 80s were historical, and that makes my point. When those teams left, like I said, I give Jordan all the credit in the world. He did what he was supposed to do, right? He took over that vacancy in the NBA. And this is why he's top 3 in my list, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say he's better for beating worse teams. And he didn't beat any historical team. See this? Most final wins by all NBA trio in the last 5 decades. Those 2 teams. LeBron's the only one to beat both of those teams. Now, he may have a losing record to those teams. And anyways, it's historical teams. But there's context to it. But either way, 19 wins. They tied. They broke the Spurs record in 2022 with 20 wins. But look at this. The whole point is these are historical teams. LeBron's 2-5 versus these teams. Faced them 7 times. Only one to beat these teams. Both of them. And when you look at it, okay, he was 22 years old in his first matchup versus the Spurs. Then he lost his 2 best teammates versus the Warriors. Then the Warriors add KD. And the 2014 Spurs have 5 NBA playoff records. And they shot 47% from 3 in the finals. And not only that, they broke the NBA playoff record for field goal percentage, I think. Something like that. But they hold 5 playoff records. And they was blowing out teams the entire playoffs. But they'll tell you, 6 finals losses. These are historical teams, man. Jordan went 6-0 because he wasn't playing teams like these. That's why he went 6-0. It's almost the equivalent of saying, okay, if you gave Jordan a team in the 80s, right? Or even if you, I don't know, it's a hypothetical, but if you would have put Jordan's Bulls versus the teams that existed in the 80s, I'm sure Jordan would get chips, right? But he wouldn't go 6-0, three-peat twice versus Bird Celtics, three-peat twice versus Magic and Kareem, three-peat twice versus, the Pistons. No, he going to take some L's because he's playing historical teams that are on the level of his teams. Jordan wasn't playing that in the 90s. But let's keep going.
And only a couple rounds of playoffs, so it was considerably easier to win a title. And no player, not even Bill Russell, ever had a run of winning 25 of 26 playoff series as Michael Jordan did.
Now, I will say that that's impressive, even though he did it in an expansion league. But you just heard what he said. It was easier to win the title in Bill Russell's era, just like it was easier to win a title in Jordan's era. And that's just the facts. Whether they, like I said, they'll admit that, Jordan ain't never played a team like the Kevin Durant Warriors. And I know he ain't even played a team like the Spurs. But what they'll say is, it's only because he was that team. Then they'll say it was easier for Bill Russell to win back then. So which one is it? Like, they need to, pretty much what I'm saying is the logic is inconsistent. It was easier to win in Jordan's day. That's why he won the way he won. LeBron faced far better competition. You don't look at the amount of wins because at the end of the day, even then LeBron wins. 73 win team. But let's keep going.
And Michael's pattern of winning goes beyond the NBA. Let's not forget that Jordan has never won anything but gold in the Olympics, and he also earned an NCAA championship.
LeBron was not in college. He was good enough to come straight to the NBA. So not only that, LeBron got more Olympic gold medals. So let's keep going.
In which he hit the first of 2 iconic championship-winning shots in his career. All that is to say, when it comes to winning, the checkmark clearly goes to Jordan.
Yes, Jordan did win more championships, but as he already stated, he's not a better player because of that. Winning more doesn't make you better because if it made you better, Bill Russell would be the GOAT, period. He wouldn't be making excuses of, it's easier to win in the league. So what I'm saying is they have to decide if competition matters, there's no way in hell you could put Jordan as the GOAT. I don't care. You cannot put Jordan as the GOAT if competition matters. If it doesn't matter, you can put him as the GOAT. That's just the facts. But if it does matter, he's not better than LeBron James. And his record shows, his NBA Finals record shows that he was playing way better teams. That's just the facts. And the context shows he was playing way better teams. And he was playing them under certain circumstances where, he didn't always have the best team in his conference, like 2007 and 2015 when he loses his 2 best teammates, and 2018. Jordan ain't never carried the Bulls to the finals. He didn't have to carry his team. Every time he made the finals, he had the best team in his conference at the very least, and really the best team in the league. But we going, you know what I'm saying. But winning more championships does not make you better. That's the point, and he already acknowledged that. But like I said, it doesn't make sense to say, Jordan never played a team like the Kevin Durant Warriors because he was that team. That doesn't even make sense. No, he never played a team like that because a team like that didn't exist back then, or act in that time frame. If you want to say, he played those teams like that in the 80s, yeah, he did, but he lost. That's just the reality. Let's keep going.
On to the 4th GOAT criteria, statistics. This one is a bit more complicated. I mean, how do you statistically evaluate 2 players who played in different eras under different rules at different positions? One way of doing it is to simply look at the 8 traditional statistics of basketball: points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and turnovers. And we'll focus on per game stats rather than cumulative stats, since cumulative stats such as total career points and total career assists really speak to longevity, which is already its own category of the GOAT analysis. Per game.
See how you automatically just said longevity. Oh, because LeBron played longer. Well, I'm about to show you right now that this is just a cop out. Hold on real quick. I'm just gonna show it because I get tired of hearing this longevity stuff too. Okay. One thing that's true is okay. LeBron passed Jordan. What the hell? It's not going to full screen. Well, I guess I would just say LeBron passed Jordan in 6 of 10 categories. And that's regular season rebounds and assists, playoff rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Right? So how is it longevity? He passed him in more categories in less time. Right? If you count the regular season playoffs. He passed Jordan in points on 1,240 less shots. So he might have took 16 years to pass him in points, but he passed him in 1,240 less shots. But I'm going to go back to the video.
Game stats, on the other hand, is more of an apples-to-apples comparison. So looking at the 8 traditional stats, we see that Jordan leads LeBron in 5 of them: points per game, steals per game, blocks per game, free throw percentage, and fewer turnovers.
Yes, so Jordan has fewer turnovers because he passes the ball less. LeBron is 4th all-time in assists past Magic. So, of course, he's going to have more turnovers. But he also has a better assist-to-turnover ratio than Jordan, which is something that they don't mention. As far as blocks and steals, well, he passed Jordan in blocks I guess in year 16, but by the end of year 15, he had, 5, 6 less blocks. He passed Jordan, like I said, he passed Jordan in points on far less shots. And he shot the ball less.
LeBron leads in the other 3: assists per game, rebounds per game, and field goal percentage. But that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at statistics. What if we instead turn to analytics? Probably the most well-known analytic stat is player efficiency rating, or PER for short. This metric was created by respected basketball analyst John Hollinger to give an overall rating to a player's performance based on traditional stats like the ones we just mentioned. Jordan has led the league in PER 7 times, LeBron 6 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in PER 10 times, LeBron 9 times. In fact, Jordan has the highest career PER in both the regular season and the playoffs. Another popular analytic stat is win shares.
Okay.
Jordan has led the league in win shares 8 times, LeBron 5 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in win shares 11 times, LeBron 6 times. And when it comes to win shares per 48 minutes, Jordan has the highest career rating in both the regular season and the playoffs.
How is this? How does he have the advantage in win shares when LeBron is number 1 all time? Or no, he's number 2. Number 1 in the playoffs, number 2 in the regular season, right? Behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? So I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Hold on 1 second. So when you look at it, oh shit. Yeah, when you look at it, Kareem is number 1 all time in the playoffs. I mean, in the regular season. LeBron is number 2. So how I'm trying to figure out Michael Jordan's number 5. How does Michael Jordan have the advantage in win shares? When you look at the playoffs for a career, LeBron's number 1 by far. 58.67, Jordan 39.76. Okay. So I'm kind of confused on how Jordan has the advantage in win shares when LeBron leads all time. It doesn't make sense to me. But deeper than that, what they'll say is, oh, win shares is a however you say this shit, cumulative stat or a longevity stat, meaning the longer you play, the higher your win shares get, which is true, right? But look at it like this. This is what they use to excuse everything. Longevity, right? Okay. But he passed Jordan on the win shares list February 13, 2018. In 2018, that was his 15th season. As I recall, Jordan played 15 seasons, right? Now, LeBron played more games. I think he played like 56 more games, but you can't call a little over half of an NBA season longevity. And they played the same amount of seasons. He just played more games. Well, okay, all that means is that LeBron was available more for his team. You know, Jordan fans are always bragging about, oh, well, Jordan played all 82 games 9 times. Well, how come in 15 seasons LeBron played more games? Like I said, it's not longevity when you pass somebody in 6 stats playing less time. It's not longevity when you play 15 years and you pass somebody that played the same amount of time in 15 years. Like they both played 15 years at this point, and LeBron passed them. So that's not longevity. It's the same amount of time. Like I said, Jordan was just available for less games, and that has absolutely nothing to do with LeBron. That's not LeBron's fault.
Jordan has finished top 3 in win shares 11 times, LeBron 6 times. And when it comes to win shares per 48 minutes, Jordan has the highest career rating in both the regular season and the playoffs. What about box plus minus? Until recently, LeBron was actually ahead of Jordan in career box plus minus. But after the 2017 season gave Russell Westbrook the greatest single season box plus minus in history by a wide margin, the architect of box plus minus realized that the stat was fundamentally flawed. So he made some changes to improve its formula. As a result, Michael Jordan now has the highest career box plus minus in both the regular season and the playoffs.
Okay, it's pretty funny how he mentions the stat was changed because of Russell Westbrook breaking the stat, right? This is box plus minus. But at the end of the day, hold on. Russell Westbrook broke the stat, right? But I could show you box plus minus real quick. They talk about, yeah, he broke the stat. This is why they changed the formula. But going by that logic, well, LeBron was number 1 in box plus minus and offensive box plus minus back then. So I mean, this is why you can't really rely on that, because at the end of the day, oh, my screen is glitching. Pretty much what I'm saying is if he would have made that video before the formula changed mysteriously in 2020, man, it's not even showing. I'm gonna just have to go to the website. All right, so it says box plus minus 2.0. Why was box plus minus changed? The simplest answer: Russell Westbrook. Right? Okay, we just gonna skip all that. I'm not reading all that. But here's the top 10 in career box plus minus. Old LeBron James 9.1, Michael Jordan 8.1. He was second. So the new one puts Michael Jordan at 9.2 and LeBron at 8.9. What a coincidence. right? That's pretty funny. And they claim that it broke the stat because Westbrook had the single season box plus minus record, but it didn't change who led in box plus minus. But they changed that. They changed offensive box plus minus because Jordan was at 6.9. LeBron was at 7.2. The new formula, Jordan was at 7.2. LeBron was at 7.1. I mean, what a coincidence. It's like 0.1 off, right? And then when you look at defensive box plus minus, Jordan didn't have a season in the top 10. Well, neither did LeBron, but look at this. Michael Jordan's 88 season is all of a sudden in the top 10. It's just kind of funny how they changed pretty much everything. They changed all these formulas. Damn, I really am tripping. I didn't even show it. My bad. But the point I was making is like, yeah, they changed it. 9.1 and 9.2. Box plus minus. You can see it. Okay, and it's just all of a sudden put him there. Like all of a sudden. And then you got people saying, oh, they didn't change it for Michael Jordan. They didn't change the formula to favor Michael Jordan. But they did. Because, all of a sudden he's number one on all the lists. All of a sudden that formula made him number one. But okay. We're just going to keep going.
And lastly, what about value over replacement player, which on its face seems to favor LeBron James? Well, value over replacement player is a cumulative stat.
Okay, and this is where they messed up. Said it seems to favor LeBron James. No, it does favor LeBron James. Okay, it says it's a cumulative stat, right? But as I recall, LeBron became number one in value over replacement January 15, 2016, which was his 13th season in the NBA. Didn't Jordan play 15 seasons? Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he play 15 seasons? So if a guy passed you in year 13 and you played 15 seasons, that means he played less time. So how can that be longevity? Even if you play more games, all that means is he was available more. But that has nothing to do with playing longer. He played less time. And he passed you in less years. So it's not because of longevity. And it does favor LeBron. Because he's the number one in value over replacement in the regular season. Okay, hold on. He's number one in value over replacement in the playoffs. This is just the facts. He passed him in year 13. Remember that. Year 13. So it's not longevity. He passed him playing less time. And then they talk about, oh, well, Jordan led in value over replacement more, but LeBron owns the record in the playoffs for the best value over replacement seasons. He's on that. He's in the top 10 4 times. So it does favor LeBron. But let's keep going.
And as previously noted, cumulative stats speak more to longevity than they do game-to-game dominance.
Again, value over replacement. He passed him in year 13. I just showed it. So it ain't about longevity because he played less years. Jordan played 15 years. LeBron played 13 years to pass him in value over replacement. It's a lie.
Said, according to value over replacement player, Jordan owns 6 of the 9 greatest individual seasons ever played. And on a per-game basis...
He does own that, right? But LeBron owns the all-time record in the regular season and playoffs. And not only that, LeBron owns 4 of the top 10 in the playoffs. And he passed them in 13 years and Jordan played 15 years. So no, it does favor LeBron. And value over replacement per game does not exist. It's not a stat.
MJ's career rating and value over replacement player is the highest of all time in both the regular season and the playoffs.
No, it's not. I just showed you value over replacement. LeBron James #1 in the playoffs. Here, hold on. I'm gonna show it again, so you can't say I'm lying. #1 in the playoffs. Value over replacement player. Records. LeBron's #1. Michael Jordan's #2. That's the playoffs. Regular season. LeBron's #1. Michael Jordan #2. Facts. And he passed him in less years. February. Hold on. Nope. That's the wrong one. January 15th, 2016. 13 years in the NBA. So I'm not. No, it does favor LeBron. Value over replacement favors LeBron. These dudes just be disingenuous.
Are you noticing a theme here?
I'm noticing. He said, "Am I noticing a theme here?" I'm noticing that you're disingenuous. You're lying about what Jordan leads in. You're omitting things to prop Jordan on top. I just showed in all the regular season stats, LeBron, was passing Jordan in less shots, and he was, passed him in 6 of 10 categories in the regular season and playoffs, playing less time. And in win shares, he passed him in 13 years while Jordan played 15 years. And in that was in value replacement. But in win shares, he played 15 years and Jordan played 15 years. And Jordan and LeBron passed him in the same amount of time, 15 years. So, no, I'm noticing that you're disingenuous and you just disregarding the facts, just like all these other Jordan fans.
Jordan beat LeBron in every ratable analytic stat. He consistently ranks as the best.
It's just not. See, value replacement per game, it don't exist. Box plus minus was changed. So, like I said, if he would have made this video before they changed the stat, LeBron would have been #1 in box plus minus too. So he would have been box plus minus and value over replacement. He's already #1. And like I said, pass him in less years. So you can't say it's longevity because he played longer. He passed him in less years.
Ever across the board.
Yeah, and win
Before
shares.
we move on from
Win shares per 48. I'm a little confused about that because they always do per game, but win shares per 48. Why not just do win shares? They say, LeBron played longer, longevity. But like I said, I just showed he played 15 years. Jordan played 15 years too.
Analytics, I want to mention a lesser-known stat called game score, another brainchild of John Hollinger. Game score measures a player's performance in a single game, so it won't tell us who's had the better career, but it does provide insight into who's had the greatest games. Now, we only have game score stats since 1983, so you won't see any mentions of Wilt Chamberlain here. That said, of the 100 highest game scores ever recorded, incredibly 19 of them belong to Michael Jordan. In other words, nearly 1 out of every 5 of the best single-game performances over the last 4 decades has been by MJ. That includes the highest game score of all time for Jordan's 69.18 rebound.
Yeah, so that was in the regular season. Remind me, who owns the highest game score for his NBA Finals game? I think that's LeBron James. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me look that up. If I'm not mistaken, LeBron is #1 in that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But if I wasn't mistaken, LeBron James is game 6 in the 2016 NBA Finals is the highest game score of all time. But you know what? I'll let that go because I can't find it right now. So I'm just gonna keep playing the video.
Masterpiece. Comparatively, LeBron has had only 3 of the top 100 game scores. When discussing the GOAT, Nick Wright is fond of asking this question.
The aliens come down. You have 1 game to save humanity. Who's your first pick in the history of the world?
Well, Nick, I think we have our answer. Now that I've finished drowning you in numbers, let's be real. Hardly anyone watching this video knows how to calculate PER, win shares, box plus minus, value over replacement player, or game score. And why
Yep, I can agree with that. Which is why I ain't gonna say I don't go by it, but it's just we just asking who the better player is. A lot of that stuff is what they calculate, and they can choose and omit things and put it in a certain formula to favor Michael Jordan, as I just showed.
should you? This is basketball, not Goodwill Hunting. So let's go back to the traditional stats that we all know and understand. But this time, let's add context to them. What do I mean by context? Well, some positions are simply better than others at racking up certain stats. Let's take rebounding as an example. In a vacuum, if we simply compare the number of rebounds per game of Brook Lopez and Jason Kidd, we might think that Lopez was the better rebounder. The truth is, relative to their positions, Lopez is statistically one of the worst rebounding centers in NBA history, whereas Kidd is statistically one of the best rebounding guards in NBA history. But even a poor rebounding center can grab more rebounds than a great rebounding guard solely by virtue of their roles on the court. So it makes sense that, to understand the context of a player's stats, we should compare them to the respective positions that they played.
Nope, wrong. Because that's disingenuous. Because what they want to do is, hold on one second. What they want to do is make the insinuation that Jordan's a better rebounder than LeBron, because they want to. I don't know how you can argue that Jordan's a better rebounder than LeBron in any shape, form, or fashion when he's just not. He's just not a better rebounder. But he's saying compare it by position when the guys at LeBron's position are what? Just as big, tall, just as strong as LeBron, or maybe even taller than LeBron. So, of course, you're going to have guys that are better rebounders than LeBron James. Compared to what shooting guards were great rebounders in regards to Jordan. And even looking at that, small forwards are better rebounders than shooting guards. So I'm not really getting why we compare it position-wise. You won't compare it as like a heads-up thing because LeBron, he has way more rebounds. And LeBron has more rebounds in less years. And he averages more rebounds, regular season and playoffs. More rebounds in less years, regular season and playoffs. And he got, like, if I'm not mistaken, he has 4,434 more rebounds in the regular season and 1,397 more playoff boards. In the regular season, LeBron is ranked 33rd, while Jordan is ranked 147th all the time. In the playoffs, LeBron is ranked 4th only behind Bill Russell, Wilt, and Tim Duncan, while Jordan is ranked 45th. I don't get how anyone can make the insinuation that Jordan is a better rebounder than LeBron. Now, he wants to say by position, he's a better rebounder. But again, you're comparing LeBron to a position where guys are better rebounders at that position. Bigger and taller players than shooting guards. So saying, compared to Jordan compared to shooting guards and LeBron compared to small forwards makes Jordan a better rebounder because he rebounds better than other shooting guards. It doesn't even make sense, but let's keep going.
When comparing LeBron James to the other small forwards who have played at least 500 NBA games, this is where he ranks. Overall, that's pretty impressive. Now let's see how Jordan compares to all shooting guards who have played at least 500 NBA games.
And this is pretty funny to me because LeBron's competition at his position is way steeper. He has, like in all of these things, you can name small forwards. Like you can name Kawhi Leonard, you can name Kevin Durant, you can name Scottie Pippen, you can name Dr. J. If you say Michael Jordan, outside of Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade, who else is Jordan's competition at that position? The small forward position is a lot more stacked than the shooting guard position. But either way, like he's comparing it by position because he doesn't want to compare the numbers as they are, because the numbers favor LeBron by far. And not only that, like I said, when I showed, it's not just longevity that makes the numbers favor LeBron, because in 6 of those things, which is regular season, rebounds and assists, playoff, rebounds, playoff, I think it's points, rebounds, assists, and steals, he passed Jordan playing less years. So how is it longevity?
As good as LeBron is compared to other small forwards, Jordan is on another level when compared to other shooting guards. He's darn near the top of every major statistical category.
But when you compare LeBron to every other player, it don't matter what their position is, he's damn near at the top in everything. I can show that right now. And we ain't gonna go by position. We gonna go by, okay, what did he, what is he at the top in? Since we want to play that game, we talking about NBA history. We ain't talking about by position. Look at this. If it'll show up. Look at it. First in points. And hold on, he's the only player top 10 in everything in the playoffs. Points, steals, field goals, free throws, first in autos, first in plus minus, first in wins, first in games and minutes, second in assists, second in 3-pointers made, second in triple doubles, 6th in double doubles, 6th in rebounds, 10th in blocks. You talking about ranking them by position? How about you rank them by NBA history? How about who ranks higher in NBA history compared to every position? How about that? How about look at this? This dude is first in damn near everything. First in triple doubles, points, 3-pointers, steals, assists, field goal. He's third in field goals, third in assists. My bad. Second in points, second in 3-pointers, second in steals, fourth in double doubles, 5th in rebounds, 7th in games played, 7th in blocks. Right. The reason they don't want to have the statistical conversation and compare, he's comparing it by position, because if you just compare it on face value, Jordan doesn't compare. He just don't. LeBron the only player top 5 through 10 in points and assists, regular season and playoffs. If I could find this other thing, I don't know if I could find it. Yeah, like this. This is why they don't compare statistics. Because look at this. You got more points than Jordan. Got more assists than Stockton. This is in the playoffs too. He got more rebounds than Rodman, more steals than Stockton, more blocks than Dikembe Mutombo, more 3-pointers made than Larry Bird and Reggie Miller combined. He got a better 3-point percentage than Bird, a better field goal percentage than Wilt. He's got more triple doubles than Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook combined. He's got more double doubles than a King. He's got more wins than Bill Russell. And he's got more buzzer beaters than Kobe and Michael Jordan combined. This is why they don't want to go by the stats. This is why he said go by position, because if you go by the stats, the numbers don't favor Jordan. It don't. He said Jordan's number 1 by position. LeBron's number 1 and everything by, like, in NBA history. Not by position, not by, here and there. He's number 1 in all these things. And this is compared to every player at any position. Compared to every player at any position, he's number 1 in these things. So they don't want to say, how about we do that? How about NBA history? Who's number 1? LeBron is. So I don't want to hear where he ranks at his position. This dude ranks number 1 in all this stuff. But we're going to keep going.
Is in a single category where LeBron is better than MJ relative to his position, other than assists. So to sum up statistics, whether comparing traditional stats or analytics, and especially when judging these players in the context of the positions they played, Jordan has a noticeable edge over LeBron.
Except he doesn't. I just prove he doesn't. Like, I don't know what he don't want to compare the head-to-head numbers, as I said, because Jordan gets smoked in that, right? Hold on. I gotta text somebody real quick. All right. So no, he don't got the edge in stats at all. I just showed it, and like I said, by position, forget by position. We just gonna go by all time where you rank, and LeBron beats him out of that. Let's keep
As
going.
such, we have to give the check mark to Jordan.
Nope, and I'm gonna show this too because it's pretty funny that he said we got to get a check mark to Jordan because it's just not true. Like a lot of these things that these Jordan fans do, what they do is how can I best put this? Hold on 1 second. If I could find it, it's something that I'm looking for. Well, no, it was just this chart that I had that showed LeBron, Kareem, and Jordan's rankings and where LeBron ranked in NBA history compared to, Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't know if I could find it though. Yeah, forget it. I'm just gonna keep playing the video. The stats don't favor Jordan, like I said.
And that takes us to the last category in our GOAT analysis, the eye test.
Oh, Lord.
And to be clear,
I really don't even want to get in this. The eye test. Who's a better player based on what you saw? Well, my eyes tell me, no matter what anyone else's eyes tell them, that 2018 LeBron was the best player that ever played the game. So where do we go from there? The eye test is not, everybody's eyes says something different. So why does that even matter in context? But let's keep going.
by eye test, I don't mean which of these players is bigger, faster, or jumps higher. None of that is relevant unless we're having a track and field competition. And frankly, if physical measurables mattered, then George Murasan would be in the GOAT conversation. No, what I mean by the eye test is, if you sat an average basketball fan in front of a TV to watch a player in action, what would he notice that the player is and is not great at? Thankfully, I happen to be an average basketball fan, and I've had the privilege of watching both.
Clearly, you are an average basketball fan because you lack the IQ to understand who's a better player between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. You make disingenuous takes. You really don't understand the game of basketball. Like, and you have double standards for LeBron James. That's really what it is. But let's keep going.
Both LeBron and Jordan during their playing days. So unlike a lot of my fellow YouTubers, I haven't merely relied on highlight videos. Here's what my eyes told me when I saw Michael Jordan play, particularly during his playing days with the Chicago Bulls.
And let's keep it real quick. You said, here's what my eyes. So those were your eyes, and that is making my point. The eye test is irrelevant in this because different people's eyes are going to say different things. Like I said, my eyes told me that 2018 LeBron is the best basketball player to ever touch a basketball. That's what my eyes told me. So I don't care about what your eyes told you. My eyes told me that.
He was the best offensive player in the game. He was arguably the best defensive player in the game.
That's false. He wasn't arguably the best defensive player in the game. He had two teammates that were better defenders on his own team. So, no, he wasn't the best defender in the game. I can name 3 better defenders right now. Hakeem, Carmelo. I mean, not Carmelo, but you could say Carmelo. Hakeem, Carmelo, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen. He played with 2 of the top 3 defenders in the 90s. He wasn't the best defender in the league by any metric. But let's keep going. I don't even want to get into that.
He had the best mid-range game. He was the best finisher at the rim.
Yeah,
had the-
he was the best finisher at the rim in his time. He had the best mid-range game in his time. That's a fact. I'm not going to disagree with
The
that.
best post-up game, which is incredible considering most players who dominated the post were big men. He was widely considered the most clutch player in the game. He was regarded by opponents as the fiercest competitor on the court. He was regarded by teammates as the hardest worker in practice. And when all was said and done, amongst the other stars of his generation, he was the greatest winner. Now, when you're
Oh my God, man. This is why I don't like Jordan fans at all, man. I just don't. It's just so disingenuous. Oh, he was the greatest winner. Okay, fine. He was the best winner in that generation, sure. Or maybe he just didn't play steep competition. I don't know.
playing against the elite athletes of the world, to be the best at any one of those things is pretty remarkable. But to be the best at all of them? I tell you, it's impossible. But for the fact that we saw Michael Jordan do it.
But he wasn't the best defender, though. And you say he was the best winner. Well, that's a team accomplishment. Something that really can't be measured because you're only as good as your team takes you. And plus, if we look at NBA history, he wasn't the best winner. But sure, in a watered down league, Jordan was the best. He had the best mid range. He had the best post up game. He was the best finisher. I'll give you that. That don't make him better than LeBron.
And when it comes to the GOAT debate, that's the biggest hurdle facing LeBron. He's basically being compared to a guy who was great at everything and practically had no weaknesses.
Oh, okay, here we go. No weaknesses. He couldn't shoot the three. I just named a weakness. He could not shoot the three. And not only could he not shoot the three, he couldn't guard quick guards. And that's not coming from me. I can show a clip right now that shows that he couldn't guard quick guards. Hold on. I'm gonna show it right now because they just be lying out here. We know Jordan couldn't shoot three. He was terrible at it. If I could find this clip, man. Lord. Well, it don't even matter at this point. I could probably upload it on my thing, but to say Jordan had no weakness is a lie. A lot of things they say he couldn't go left and all this stuff because the Pistons game plan when they played him was to push him left. He couldn't shoot the three. I'm not gonna say he couldn't go left, but he wasn't great at finishing left. He was a shot chucker. He over gambled in the passing lanes. The list goes on. Couldn't guard quick guards. Couldn't shoot the three. A lot of his deficiencies were covered up by, building an all-around team around him so that, he could just score and lacks on defense. And these are just the facts. When you got a guy like Rodman, who's the best rebounder in the league, and you got a guy like Scottie Pippen, who's a top 3 defender, and Rodman's also a top 3 defender, and then you put Pippen and Rodman on that same team with a Ron Harper and a Steve Kerr, you get and then a Tony Kukoc too. Yeah, you got the most stacked team in the league. You're the best player in the NBA. You got the best all-around player in the NBA, and you got the best coach. A lot of your deficiencies won't show up. But no, to say Jordan had no weaknesses, this dude couldn't shoot three for sure, and he couldn't guard quick guards, according to Rex Chapman and B.J. Armstrong. And if I can find that interview later, I'll post it on my channel.
Seriously, judging by the eye test, what's the worst thing we could say about Michael Jordan's game? Probably that he wasn't a very good three-point shooter. Jordan shot 33% from beyond the arc in an era when the average player also shot 33%. So when it came to three-point shooting,
With a shortened three-point line.
He wasn't good. He wasn't bad. He was average.
He was bad at that shit. So you're going to sit there and lie like that. Disingenuous. But
remember that Michael
just named a bunch of his weaknesses.
Played in an age when the three-point shot wasn't a big part of the game. During Jordan's years, teams averaged only 9.5 three-point attempts per game, and Michael himself attempted less than 2 threes per game. And if being an average three-point shooter is a weakness of Michael's game, well, then we also have to call it a weakness of LeBron's game.
Nah, nope. You can pull up full compilations of LeBron knocking down threes from half court. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna do that just to show a little bit, because this some disingenuous stuff. I hate people that's disingenuous like this, and Jordan fans are indeed disingenuous. So let's okay. We could pull up something. I mean, he shot 41% from three this season. Let's just look at it. We're gonna call LeBron an average 2-point shooter, but he shot 41% from
LeBron James here with
41% from three in year 21. What are we gonna call him average? Let's go.
catch three here. Got both of his feet set.
Talk about clutch. He was the first recipient of the Clutch Player of the Year. LeBron rattles it in for a three of his own. Harrison Barnes for three. Got it. Yes, sir. Knock it down. It's in the second row, or maybe even the third row. There's so many people now. Here is LeBron falling back. He's got it. Yes, sir. In the attacking 47. He's got Carter Jr. in front of him. The three.
And I'm just showing a little bit of something. Now that's a 23-minute long compilation, and we just gonna say, oh yeah, he shot 41% from three. Jordan ain't never shot 41% from three, yo. And not only that, I could pull up some stats about Michael Jordan shooting from three, right? Or at least I can name the stats from three. Jordan has he has 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 5 NBA seasons shooting below 20% from three. He has 6 NBA seasons shooting below 30%. His best shooting seasons were when they shortened the three-point line. He shot 50%, 42%, and 37%. When they moved the line back to normal, he shot 23% from the line. He was not a good three-point shooter, and he can't be compared to LeBron. LeBron has 2 seasons shooting 40% from three. He attempts more and he makes more. So no, we're not going to say that's a weakness at LeBron. I done seen this dude pull up from half court multiple times. Heat checks. Jordan can't shoot the three like that. He never shot the three like that. He's not a good three-point shooter. Let's continue.
The difference is that LeBron plays in an era where the three-point shot is a huge part of the game.
Or the difference is Jordan just wasn't a good three-point shooter.
The years in which LeBron played, teams attempted on average over 21 threes per game, and LeBron himself averaged 4.3 three-point attempts per game, or 2.5 times as many as Jordan. Despite the increased emphasis on threes, LeBron's career shooting percentage from beyond the arc is only a hair better than Jordan, at 34%.
Yeah, but he made a lot more three-pointers than Jordan. So, I mean, I'm not really catching the point in saying that, because at the end of the day, he made a lot more three-pointers. He took more and he made more, and at a better percentage. And if you just watch them shoot the three, LeBron shoots them way deeper, way better, more consistently. And LeBron has 2 seasons shooting 40%, over 40% from three. Jordan has none. I'll leave it at that.
And it's actually slightly below his peers, who averaged 35% from three during his era. But to reiterate, being an average three-point shooter was by far the worst part of MJ's game.
Nope. Over gambling on steals was bad. Not being able to guard quick guards. Flaws. Now every player's got flaws. You can say LeBron can't shoot a free throw. You can say LeBron, sometimes he lacks a mid-range. Every player got flaws. But the idea that Jordan is a flawless player is it's absurd.
For LeBron, it's not even close. LeBron, in fact, has 4 major weaknesses as a basketball player, each of which is readily apparent to anyone who has actually watched him play. First, he's not a good free throw shooter. For his career, LeBron has shot around 73.5% from the free throw line, which is pretty poor for a player who handles the ball as much as he does. In fact, many analysts point out that at the end of games, LeBron shies away from driving to the basket because he's afraid of being sent to the line.
That is pretty funny. I'm going to show you something that can prove that statement wrong right now. And it's pretty awesome if you ask me. I can prove that statement wrong right here, right now. Okay, if I could find it. All right. I could find
behind
it.
the 3-point line, but coach, I don't know if you agree, but
Now this is at the
there's
end
no
of the
reason to switch in
2016
that
finals.
situation. You're doing the Cavs a favor
Just
by
got fouled by
switching
Draymond.
Ezeli onto LeBron.
And I'll add
You tell me if he's shying away from the game.
another one. There's no reason to contest coming off your feet. James has not made a three today.
Hits the first free throw, and it's back to 3.
You always have to convince your bigs not to leave their feet when they're contesting out here beyond the 3. Just put a hand up. Don't bite.
Well, I'm Cleveland, and you're going to switch that pick and roll. I'm coming back down and running the same exact action. Let's see if you do it again.
James now 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He has done some extraordinary things in his career, but a victory tonight would be his greatest accomplishment in bringing a title back to Cleveland. His team down by 2 with just under 5.5 to play. And he hits all 3 clutch free throws there.
You heard the commentator? He hits all 3 clutch free throws. But he shies away from the game. This is the NBA Finals, Game 7, 2016 versus that 73 win team. Without those 3 free throws, clutch free throws, the Cavs are down by 4. Okay. Now let's just continue that video.
I don't know whether that's true, but what I do know is that the odds of LeBron hitting 2 consecutive free throws is statistically not much better than a coin flip.
Wow, but I just pulled up footage that showed he just knocked down 3 clutch free throws in the NBA Finals. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me.
Jordan, on the other hand, shot a solid 83.5% from the free throw line during his career.
Yes, Jordan's a better free throw shooter than LeBron, but that has nothing to do with him being a better player. And we can name weaknesses for Jordan. I just named a few. Can't guard quick guards. Overgambled on steals. Can't shoot a 3. So, I mean, whatever. We just going to keep going.
MJ never shied away from contact at the end of games. LeBron's second weakness is that he's an inconsistent defender. Sure, he's had some years where he was elite defensively, which is evidenced by his numerous selections to the NBA's all-defensive team, but he's also had several years where he's practically been a liability on the defensive end. Compare that to MJ, who during his Bulls days was a consistently elite defender. In fact, Jordan is the only player to rank in the top 5 amongst all guards in both steals per game and blocks per game for his career.
And I can show right now footage of Jordan being inconsistent on defense. We can nitpick at any player and hold 1 second. It's not even, see, this is why I don't really like Jordan fans, because they're very disingenuous. They pretty much, to downplay LeBron, right? This is what they just take every negative about him. Nitpick moments, right? Okay. Defense. Nitpick Jordan on defense. Here we go.
Take pride on the defensive end of the court, and LeBum hasn't tried on that end for years. By the way, did you know Michael Jordan has a Defensive Player of the Year award and LeBron doesn't? There's a reason for that. It's because no player MJ guarded ever scored on him. I mean, just look at how he shuts down his opponents in these clips.
72-67. 3 penetrates off the ball. Hubbard
to Bagley. Bagley, dish, free, puts it up, it counts.
Look at Jordan. He was just hiding in the corner from that dude.
12 by their starters. Thomas asking. Isaiah Thomas gives it. It gives the Bulls the lead by Thomas, guarded by Jordan, who has 5 fouls. Jordan giving him heat on the 3.
Take him inside. Tough shot. He's going to shoot right here as he just goes up and catch Michael a little flat.
Course of the finals, 0 for 8 from the field. The other Magic off the spin. Patient. Magic going left. Worthy beating Jordan down to 5. Magic. 24. Been able to get going. Magic with the
good high percentage shots.
Magic on the recovery. Shot clock at 2. Ball. Bulls wanted a charge. Worthy
To the ball first.
and has been favoring it. Quents for the Lakers. Magic. Yes.
You should consider yourself.
So I mean, we could do that with any player. Inconsistent on defense, but I mean LeBron. Yeah, you said LeBron's inconsistent on defense. I just showed Jordan getting cooked. Shout out to you, Aaron. But yeah, we just gonna keep going. Hold on. All right.
Additionally, Michael led his position in defensive win shares practically every year that he played for the Bulls, an incredible 10 times. LeBron, comparatively, has led his position in defensive win shares on just 4 occasions, and in 5 of his last 7 seasons, he didn't even crack the top 10 at his position in defensive win shares. Now, some will excuse LeBron's recent fall-off on the defensive end as a byproduct of his resting on defense so that he can have more energy on offense. And we can debate the merits of that strategy, but resting on defense is not something Michael Jordan was ever accused of doing.
Yet I just showed Jordan resting on defense and getting cooked on defense. But okay, sure.
Heck, even as a 40-year-old, he was busting his tail on the defensive end.
So he showed one play of Jordan at 40 years old. I guarantee you, LeBron by December is still going to be a better defender than Jordan at age 40. And the whole thing about Jordan and LeBron on defense is hilarious because I've seen LeBron guard Tim Duncan. I've seen him guard Jokic. I've seen him guard Giannis. I've seen him guard Anthony Davis. I've seen him guard, Tim Duncan and Tony Parker in the same possession and then switch on to Danny Green. I've seen him guard Derrick Rose. I've seen him guard Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I've seen him switch on a guard and then switch on a forward. We can't ever say we saw Jordan do that.
But what about the notion that LeBron's been the more versatile defender? LeBron supporters will argue that he can guard positions 1 through 5 on the court, such as when he guarded Derrick Rose for stretches in the 2011 playoffs. But LeBron's guarding the opposing team's point guard or center isn't something that happens very often. In fact, during his career, LeBron has spent less than 5% of his total minutes guarding the opposing players 1 or 5. So the versatility argument is highly exaggerated.
Oh my God, bro. This dude is just playing horrible. LeBron the only player not to guard 1 through 5, but to be listed at all 5 positions. So he's guarded all 5 positions. I don't know what these dudes be talking about. Like, if you've watched LeBron's entire career, you've seen him guard 1 through 5, right? You've seen him switch on from a guard to a forward or from a guard to a center. Like I said, I just saw him at age 40 put the clamps on Jokic. What are we even talking about?
And look, when it comes to versatility, Hometown Buffet may have a more versatile menu than Spago. That doesn't make it a better restaurant. LeBron's third weakness is that he's not a very good shooter. And this is a pretty significant flaw for someone playing.
I don't know how you get 40,000 points, but you're not a good shooter. I don't know how you average 25 for 20 seasons, but you're not a good shooter. I don't know how you become the all-time leading scorer, but you're not a good shooter. I just don't. Some of these arguments are just plain bad. And I'm saying, like, you don't get 40,000 points without being able to shoot the ball. I don't care how good you are at finishing at the rim. or dunking. You have to be able to shoot the ball.
Claiming to be the GOAT. I mean, shooting the ball is the quintessential skill in the game of basketball. It's the part of the game that everyone practices, whether on the playground, at the YMCA, or in the NBA. Now, some people will contend that LeBron is actually a better shooter than Jordan because he has a better career field goal percentage. And yes, LeBron's career field goal percentage is 50.4% compared to Jordan's 49.7%. But recall what I said about placing stats into proper context. To help us understand context when it comes to shooting, allow me to introduce DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler. We all know
they have nothing to do with LeBron and Jordan. So LeBron takes he's a better finisher at the rim, so of course he's going to take less mid-range jump shots. I'm not going to sit here and say LeBron's a better mid-range shooter than Jordan, but to pretend like LeBron can't shoot the ball, how are you not able to shoot the ball but you have 40,000 points? Someone needs to make that make sense to me.
Know that DeAndre and Tyson were great rebounders and defenders, but what if I told you that they were also two of the greatest shooters of all time? That would be certifiably crazy. Yet if you look at all the shooting metrics, field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, both of these guys rank near the top in NBA history. Of course, there's an obvious reason for that. As we all know, both DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler take a lot of their shot attempts on dunks, layups, and putbacks, which are extremely...
So all that means is that you're saying LeBron is so great, he scored 40,000 points driving to the rim. The majority of his points was because he drove to the rim, which just means he's the greatest finisher of all time, right? Since you can't shoot a jump shot. I mean, if this is your best argument, you really, not only are you disingenuous, you really just need to, reevaluate your arguments when you're arguing for why Jordan's a better player.
High percentage shots. Well, guess what? So does LeBron James. In fact, every single year of his career, the shot that LeBron James has taken the most has been within 0 to 3 feet from the basket.
Yeah, because he's the best finisher in NBA history. Why would he not use his size, athleticism, and his finishing ability to his advantage? I don't get that. That doesn't mean he can't shoot the ball.
In other words, dunks, layups, and putbacks. More than 1 of every 3 of LeBron's shots has been within this point-blank range, which is aided by his playing in an era where it's been relatively easy to get to the rim.
How is it easy to get to the rim when zone defense exists? It was easier to get to the rim when zone didn't exist because you couldn't double. Well, you could double, but you couldn't double a player outside of like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like you couldn't leave your man. You had to leave your man fully to double. You couldn't like guard an open area. You couldn't shade. You couldn't load up on one player back then. So it wasn't easier to. I mean, it was easier to get to the paint back then because once you get past one defender, you're at the rim. Today, they can double you without the ball. They could load their offense up. Load their defense up, so that when you do get past that one guy, there's 2 or 3 guys waiting for you. Back then, that was illegal. Oh, and that's why guys are better passers now too, because zone. I don't know, like people just don't take into account evolution and zone defense. There's a difference between, back then and today, and it was a lot easier to score back then because zone was illegal.
Particularly when compared to the physical era in which Jordan played. And just like every other player, LeBron is really effective from 0 to 3 feet, hitting over 73% of these shots. But how does LeBron fare from outside this range? According to basketballreference.com, LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet is 37.5%. It's even poorer in the playoffs where he shoots 35.9%. And it gets even worse in close and late situations. In the last 2 minutes of games where the score is within 5 points, LeBron hits only 31.7% of his jumpers. Look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that these numbers aren't very good, which is probably why in the 2013...
So T-Mac, what do you call it? T-Mac, Kobe. You got a few guys that shoot maybe a little better from outside that range. but that doesn't make them bad shooters. Like, I'm not gonna say LeBron has the best mid range ever, but again, to say he can't shoot the ball is just disingenuous.
Finals, the Spurs' defensive strategy against the Heat was to basically dare LeBron James to shoot. And keep in mind, this was against LeBron in his prime. Can you imagine an opposing coach using a similar strategy against MJ? Now, LeBron actually credits the Spurs for forcing him to work on his jump shot, but it's not as if his results have gotten much better since then. Here's LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet over the last 6.
Do you see where I'm going with this? All pretty much. So what he's saying, LeBron's not the GOAT because I put a bunch of negative things out that to discredit LeBron. So he's not better than Jordan, but I'm not pulling out any negatives for Jordan because Jordan was a perfect player. That's pretty much what he's saying.
6 years. Yikes. Well, I'll give him this. He is consistent. For comparison,
he has 40,000 points though. Like, I'm still not okay. You could talk about his jump shot, all that, but he got 40,000 points. So how did he score 40,000 points without a jump shot? Somebody please tell me.
Consider that in the last year of Michael Jordan's career, as an aging player on the Washington Wizards, Jordan shot close to 42% from outside 3 feet. While that's certainly not great, it means that even as a 40-year-old shell of his former self, Jordan was still a better shooter, a far better shooter than LeBron James.
He's a better mid-range shooter. That's okay, that's a fact. But there's saying Jordan's a better mid-range shooter means absolutely nothing. I think anyone knows that. But that doesn't make him a better player. That just makes him a better mid-range jump shooter.
Unfortunately, Basketball Reference doesn't have advanced shooting metrics from Michael's Bulls days when he was a significantly more efficient scorer, but few would argue that Michael was anything but a lethal jump shooter when he was wearing red and black. When it comes to shooting, all of us can recall practicing shots on the blacktop, counting down 3, 2, 1 before launching a shot at the rim. Well, if you were pretending to be LeBron James, you'd brick almost 2/3 of the time.
Dude, like, this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, this Jordan fans don't have no argument except for discredit LeBron, go negative at LeBron. That's their argument. And how are you comparing who's better just by downing one guy and propping up another one? Now, saying things like Jordan didn't play better competition than LeBron isn't downing Jordan. It's saying he didn't play better competition, and it's just the truth. But I can go negative. I can make an entire video about all the negative things in Jordan's career. But that's not making the case for why he's better. That's not making the case for why LeBron is better. That's just saying, oh, well, LeBron, it's saying Jordan's worse because this, and this. And LeBron never did this. And Jordan did this, and this. It's just going negative at Jordan. It's not saying LeBron's better because of whatever the reasons may be.
Actually, that's not entirely true. If you were playing against a countdown, it would be much, much worse. And that gets me to the last major weakness of LeBron's game, his performance, or more accurately, lack of performance, in the clutch. Remember when people were praising LeBron for making a couple of buzzer beaters in the playoffs 2 years ago? They used these stats to claim that LeBron was better in the clutch than Jordan. But look at these numbers carefully. What stands out to you?
Okay, before I even continue this, I'm about to put this to bed real quick because this is ridiculous. Here, hold on. If I can find it. What the hell? Okay, give me a minute. Okay, he talking about his performance in the clutch, right? Before I even let him continue, talking about LeBron's performance in the clutch. Now look at clutch is not last second shots, last second situations. But okay, let's just look at how he performs in elimination games. Let's just look at that. In elimination games, LeBron averages more points, more rebounds, and more assists. Shoots a better percentage from the field, and he shoots a little worse from the free throw line. But this is in elimination games. That's clutch. That's clutch, right? Okay. Game 7. LeBron shoots averages more points, more rebounds. He averages less assists. Shoots a better percentage from the field. Got a better true shooting percentage in the clutch. He's got more buzzer beaters than Jordan and Kobe combined, but he's not clutch. 5 buzzer beaters to 3.
And here you can see LeBron has the
Hold
most
on.
clutch shots.
My PowerPoint's playing. Either way, my point is he got the most. He got the most clutch shots ever. So what are we talking about? I can pull up. Hold on. I'm about to pull up something. Something else. If I can find it, it's on First Things First. Well, I just got the graphic. This is LeBron versus every MVP of the last 25 years to tie or take the lead in the fourth quarter of overtime with one or fewer seconds left in the playoffs since 99. 58% from the field. Every other MVP over that time span, which is the last 25 years, 13.3%. That includes Jokic, Giannis, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Derrick Rose, Kobe Bryant, Dirk, Steve Nash, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Shaq, and Karl Malone. But LeBron's not clutch. I mean, it's ridiculous narratives out here, man. But we just gonna keep watching that video. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this live stream. So okay, almost done.
How about this? People were using a sample size of less than 1 shot per season to make the case that LeBron was more clutch than Jordan. That would be the equivalent of polling just 100 people in the country to try to predict the winner of the next presidential election. So let's use more telling stats, shall we? Here's a situation that's often used to determine a player's clutchness. 5 seconds to go in the fourth quarter or overtime, and your team needs a bucket to either win or tie the game. It answers the age-old question, who do you want taking the last shot with the game on the line? It turns out that in the regular season and playoffs combined, LeBron has taken 94 such shots. That's a pretty good sample size. And how many of those 94 shots has LeBron made? 19, for a shooting percentage of 20%. Let me repeat that. 20%. Guys, that's not bad in the clutch. That's atrocious. Michael Jordan in the same situation shot roughly 50%. Yes, that's right. Jordan's performance under pressure was the same as it was throughout the rest of the game. And that, my friends, is the definition of clutch. So there you go. When it comes to the eye test, our eyes tell us that one player, Michael Jordan, is great at everything and has practically no weaknesses. And the other player, LeBron James, while also having a ton of strengths, has several obvious flaws to his game. And
this has got to be the worst video at the end of the day. All I'm saying is, look, that stat that he gave is false. It's is skewed because LeBron got the most clutch shots in NBA history. He got 1,000 clutch shots. 1,010, if I'm not mistaken. If I could find it, man. Stat. I'm gonna have to probably show it later. But I can show a video real quick because it's just crazy narratives out here.
Kobe was a fearless killer who always took the shot and was as good of a clutch player ever. LeBron, this is one of the universally accepted narrative. LeBron, this is one of his weaknesses. He looks to pass. He doesn't take those shots, and he's not good at them. Yet, they both have played. Kobe played 20. LeBron is in the midst of year 20. Amazingly, shots in playoff games. Put that tweet back up if you would, please, and then we'll go to the next one. Shots in playoff games to tie or take the lead in the final minute. They both took the exact same number, 44 in a 20-year career. Kobe made 12. That's 27%. LeBron made 21. That's 47%.
So I don't know where this dude got his clutch stats from, but now Nick Wright got it from like an actual official basketball website that tracks the data. I don't forgot. It might be Basketball Reference, and if I can find it, I will be able to find it. But LeBron's made the most clutch shots at like the second best percentage in NBA history. So to say he's not clutch, I don't know where he got his percentages from, but it's just a lie.
Almost double. Second best percentage of anyone in basketball, only to Ray Allen.
You seem really passionate when talking about your best.
So it's just, yeah. I'm gonna finish it off here though.
When all is said and done, after analyzing the 5 key factors of being the GOAT, Jordan gets 4 check marks to LeBron's 1, making this GOAT debate, well, not much of a debate at all.
And that is all wrong, especially with the statistics. I already addressed winning more don't make you better. And I already addressed that, okay, if you go by the eye test, my eyes tell me that 2018 LeBron was the best player ever. Your eyes might say something different. So you can't give the eye test to Jordan. It depends on who watched him and what they saw. And I say 2018 LeBron is the best player ever. So LeBron's the best player ever, according to my eye test. So statistics and the eye test favor LeBron. Longevity favors LeBron. You could say accomplishments and winning favors Jordan, but Jordan played weaker competition. So it depends on if you think that competition matters. So if competition matters, Jordan has the favor. It favors Jordan. But if it doesn't matter, if competition matters, it favors LeBron. If it doesn't matter, I guess you could give it to Jordan.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that LeBron James is a bad player. He's a phenomenal player. Personally, I have him on basketball's Mount Rushmore, along with Jordan, Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. He's just not Michael Jordan. And just to underscore how good MJ was, let's ignore LeBron and Jordan for a minute and focus on the other 3 players highlighted here, Kareem, Wilt, and Bill Russell. Most would agree that these are the 3 greatest centers in NBA history, and each of them has a strong case to justify his standing among basketball royalty. Wilt is an all-time great because he was an offensive force of nature, and he holds a ton of NBA records. Russell is in the conversation because he was a dominant defender and a perennial champion. Kareem also led his team to numerous titles, and in terms of individual awards and accolades, was the most decorated of the 3. Not to mention, he had the NBA's most unguardable shot. Now imagine a center that had all the best qualities from these 3 titans. A player like that would be the basketball equivalent of Thanos. Now add to that player the highest level of intangible attributes, such as a tireless work ethic, unmatched killer instinct, and an ability to deliver in the clutch. And now you'd essentially be looking at Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones, and no one would question whether this player was the greatest of all time. But the truth is, we don't have to imagine such a player. That player already existed. He just happened to be a shooting guard, not a center. When you think of
Oh my god, bro. I think this is like a good stopping point. Because Jordan don't really own no NBA records. And that killer instinct is just something that people make up. Killer instinct. He's a killer. He's this, he's that. The stats show LeBron is one of the most, if not the most clutch player ever. LeBron is one of the hardest working NBA players, if not the most hard working NBA player ever. He's been doing it for 20 years. He's a champion, 4-time champion with 4 finals MVPs. Nobody else can say they got that except Michael Jordan. Right? But LeBron did it versus better competition. And he did it for 3 different teams. And he's first in points and 4th in assists. So he's definitely an offensive force. And he's a dominant defender. Finished 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year 5 times. 6 all defense selections. But let's keep going.
about it, Michael Jordan is the real-life version of an overpowered video game character. He had all the qualities we look for in a superstar athlete, and he had it in spades. He's basically Babe Ruth, if Babe Ruth played defense like Willie Mays. And that's why, even in comparison to the other all-time greats, he is truly in a class of his own. Simply put, he's the GOAT.
Okay, that's the end of that video. And I don't even know what to say, man. That's the end of that video. It's a bunch of inconsistent logic, double standards, and just lies. But we're gonna leave it there. Hopefully I debunked that as best as I could, man. Just as far as the longevity argument, the competition, all that shit. So I'm probably gonna upload something later, but yeah, that's like one of the worst videos I've ever seen. And like I said, the only thing that Jordan fans do, the only thing that they do is take LeBron's negatives, compare them to Jordan's positives, and then say, well, look, because LeBron's not the GOAT because he didn't do this and didn't do that and didn't do this. And then they say Jordan is the GOAT because he did do this. So it's pretty much, go negative at LeBron, only look at Jordan's positive, pretend Jordan had no negatives. But that's not how we determine who the better player is. And I'm going to do a stream probably later to show why LeBron is the GOAT. And I'm going to leave it at that. Shout out to my 1 viewer, 2 viewers, whoever that is. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate whoever's supporting the channel. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go live later.